Hyperloop transport faces many hurdles, but until now, how cows can cross the track hasn't really been one of them. But that's going to change as Canadian company Transpod sets up its testing facility in a village deep in the French countryside. The current record for high-speed TGV trains could be shattered in the tiny commune of Dreux in central France. Last week, the company applied for planning permission, which it expects to be granted sometime this year. Hyperloop technology, much publicized by Elon Musk's enthusiasm, involves putting passengers or goods in capsules, which are then projected through depressurized tubes at up to 1,200 kilometers an hour. In their search for the perfect test zone, Transpod's researchers hit on the Paris-Toulouse corridor, which has no high-speed rail line, but they identified a 3-kilometer stretch of an old, now disused railway passing through farmland. Transpod's founder and chief executive told Euronews that the project has the backing of both residents and local authorities, but admits they've had to build some quirky demands into their planning application. For example, a farmer who has land on either side of the line wanted them to develop a pathway for animals. As little as a year ago, Gendron, the founder, said that he doubted that anyone in Europe would want to invest in Hyperloop technology. Now, investors have committed 65 million euros. Transpod also plans to build a research and development center in southern Italy. Got some spare time this weekend? Why not build yourself a working rover from plans provided by NASA? The Spacenicks at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory have all the plans, code, and materials for you to pursue and use. Just make sure you've got an extra $2,500 and a bit of engineering know-how. This thing isn't made out of Lincoln Logs. The story is this. After Curiosity landed on Mars, JPL wanted to create something a little smaller and less complex that it could use for educational purposes. So they created Rove-E. That's what they're calling it anyway. It traveled with JPL staff throughout the country and showed off what it was capable of. Unsurprisingly, among the many questions asked was often whether a class group could actually build one of their very own. The answer, unfortunately, was no. Though far less expensive and complex than a real Mars rover, Rove-E was still too expensive and complex to be a class project. So JPL engineers decided to go back to the drawing board and build one that was less expensive. The result is the JPL open source rover, a set of plans that mimic the key components of Curiosity, but are simpler and use off-the-shelf components. The OSR uses Curiosity-like suspension, corner steering, and pivot differential, allowing movement over rough terrain, and the brain is a Raspberry Pi. You can find all the parts in the usual supply catalogs and hardware stores, but you'll also need a set of basic tools. A bandsaw to cut metal, a drill press is probably a good idea too, soldering iron, snips, wrenches, and so on. Researchers said in our experience, this project takes no less than 200 person-hours to build, and depending on the skill level of those involved, could be significantly more. So basically, unless you're literally a rocket scientist, expect double that time. Although JPL notes that they did work with schools to adjust the building process and instructions. There's flexibility built into the plans too, so you can load custom apps, connect payloads and sensors all to the brain, and modify the mechanics however you'd like. It's open source after all, so make it your own. For more information, head on over to opensourcerover.jpl.nasa.gov. Amazon recently announced in a blog post that Alexa-enabled security cameras from Ring, Arlo, and August, along with Amazon's own Cloud Cam indoor security camera, now work with the Amazon Camera Recap API. This new API should make it possible for you to view a recorded clip with the phrase, "Alexa, show the event that just happened at the front door or the back door or whatever you named the specific camera that you want to check out. The Alexa skill works on the Amazon Echo Show, the Echo Spot, the Fire TV, and Fire tablets. You can't currently ask Alexa to show an event from a specific date or time, but you know it's just a matter of time. Previously, you could only say things like, Alexa, pull up the front door live feed to see what was happening in real time, but you couldn't actually view saved clips. This feature is currently only available in the US, but it will be expanding to other countries very soon. Trekking through a crowded, cavernous Walmart supercenter really isn't much fun. But what if you could do it from the comfort of your own home through virtual reality? The world's biggest retailer wants to find out, according to filings with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. The company has applied for 2 patents that detail a virtual showroom and fulfillment center that would connect shoppers clad in VR headsets and sensor-packed gloves to a 3-dimensional representation of a Walmart store. Customers could wander digital aisles from home and grab items which would be immediately picked up and shipped from a fully automated distribution center. The filing is part of Walmart's recent push into virtual reality, an area that holds promise for brick-and-mortar retailers. Struggling with the massive costs associated with store upkeep and labor, this could be a godsend. In February, the retailer acquired Spatial Land, a startup that makes software tools to create virtual reality experiences. Spatial Land is housed inside Walmart's in-house tech incubator, store number 8, which last year hosted a V-commerce gala in Los Angeles, a gaudy affair by Walmart standards that celebrated the 5 winners of Walmart competitions to find the best ideas in the space. Walmart is moving aggressively into the digital realm at the same time that Amazon and other technology companies are looking to establish a brick-and-mortar presence. Amazon acquired Whole Foods Market last year and is also opening cashierless stores, while Google is planning a retail flagship store in Chicago. Walmart has filed more than a dozen virtual reality patents, but its focus has shifted from using VR for internal business, say virtual conference calls, to more external, shopper-focused applications.